So we were discussing about ROMs and in our last session, and we were covering. We have already covered up to uh, PROM. We have seen that there is a type of ROM which is known as PROM. Now we will see the other types of ROMs present or used in our computer system. Now that is known as EPROM. Now the PROM, in PROM we have found that it can be programmed only once. Only for one time you can buy a blank PROM and you can program it for one time only. That is PROM, and that whatever you will program it, that will be fixed for the entire time span. Okay, that is PROM. Now what is EPROM? What is EPROM? In the EPROM, basically the full form is erasable and programmable read-only memory. So from the name, you can guess that here you can program this particular ROM several times. You can program it several times. That is basically PROM is. You can program it several times, and that is why it is basically known as EPROM. Okay. Now how you can program it, because once it is programmed, then you must have to delete the previous program and then you have to write the new program. So basically to erase the previously written program from the EPROM, you have to bring it you have to bring this PROM, bring this particular ROM under the strong ultraviolet light for a duration of up to 40 minutes. Okay, so this is the mechanism. This is the technology behind the EPROM, that if you want to delete the content, previously written content from the EPROM, then you have to bring it into the under the exposure of the ultraviolet light. We call it UV light, ultraviolet light, for a duration of up to 40 minutes. So this is a basic technological techniques of erasing the previously written content from the EPROM. And in that way you can erase the previously written data from the EPROM, and then you can reprogram it. So and that is why in that way it is known as erasable and programmable. So you can erase the data and then you can reprogram it. So that's why it is known as erasable and programmable read-only memory. Now the question is, how you will erase it? For erasing it, you have to bring it into the exposure of the UV light. Now it is clearly understandable that bringing a particular device under the exposure of the UV light is not so easy and not so cheap. It is expensive technique. It is an expensive technique. It is not so cheap technique. It is not so cost effective. Okay. So obviously the procedure will incur some cost, which may not be permissible for our daily usage, right? So that's why. We can actually we have another mechanism which is known as EEPROM. EEPROM, that is basically known as electrically erasable and programmable read-only memory. Electrically erasable and programmable read-only memory. What is the difference? What is the difference between EPROM and EEPROM? Sometimes it is known as E square PROM. Okay, sometimes it is known as E square PROM. So it is EPROM or EPROM, and another way, on the other hand, it is E square PROM. Now, what is E square PROM? That is erasable, it is electrically erasable. Now, in the previous case, in case of EPROM, we have seen that we are erasing the ROM by bringing it into the under the exposure of a strong ultraviolet light, which is not so easy task. The difference between EPROM and EEPROM is that in case of EEPROM, you can do the same thing simply by using some electrical charge. Okay, you can do the same thing. That means you can erase the previous content and you can reprogram it, and by bringing it into the electric, under the electrical charge. I mean by using the electric. Okay, so that is much more easier to do. That is much more easier to do. And if you see the time to erase and reprogram, in case of EEPROM it needs 40 minutes. In case of PROM it will be needed 4 to 10 millisecond. 4 to 10 millisecond. 4 to 10 millisecond. Okay, so that is basically EEPROM. That's why EEPROMs are much more advantageous than the that's why EEPROM is much more advantageous than the EEPROM. Okay, because here you can do the same thing in very short span of time, and by using the electrical charges. But in case of EEPROM, you have to do the same thing by bringing it under the ultraviolet light and all that. So that's the difference. That's the difference between EEPROM and EEPROM. And the question can come: what's the difference? What's the difference between EEPROM and EEPROM? And you have to answer this. What is the difference between EEPROM and EEPROM? And you have to answer this. Okay. That is basically the difference. That is basically the difference between EEPROM and EEPROM, right? So now tell me. I mean, if you have any question up to this, please, let's talk. Tell me, do you have any question up to this? Do you have any question up to this? Please tell us. Tell me.
No, sir.
Okay. So you don't have any question up to this. Okay. So that means you are getting. I hope you are getting it. So next is the advantage. What is the advantages of ROM actually? What is the advantages of ROM? Now, if you see, the advantages of ROM is that basically these are non-volatile in nature. That means whatever data will be stored in the ROM, that will be stored permanently over there, until and unless in case of EEPROM you are erasing it once. Actually in EEPROM you can erase it only once. When it is blank you can write data on it. So again it is volatile, non-volatile. And in case of EEPROM you can do it several times. You can erase and you can reprogram, but you have to bring it for that. There is some procedure. You have to bring it under the contact of the electrical charges and all that. So generally you can say that ROM is non-volatile in nature. Next, as it is non-volatile in nature, it cannot be, the content cannot be changed accidentally. So that is another thing. Next is it is you can say more reliable than RAMs, as because it is non-volatile, and these are basic advantage actually. These are the basic advantage of the ROM over the RAM. But both the types of devices, both the types of memories are needed. Be it RAM, be it ROM, both the types of devices are needed in our case, because actually we have to, we need RAM to store data. We need ROM to boot up our computer system. Okay, so both type of devices are needed. We cannot say that RAM is much more important than ROM, or ROM is much more important than RAM. Both has their own types, and both the type of memories are needed. Okay. Now let's come to the secondary memory. So that is the primary memory. Primary memory part we have covered. Now coming to the secondary memory. Now secondary memory, as you know, that the main secondary memory is known as hard disk, which is obviously non-volatile in nature. That means whatever data will be there, it will be stored permanently over there. It will not be related even if your computer is shut down. So that's why it is non-volatile in nature. Now, if we see some characteristics, some major characteristics of hard disk or secondary memory rather, then we will find that these are magnetic and optical memories. Nowadays, optical memories are coming. So these are, previously it was magnetic only. Nowadays optical memories are also coming. So these are magnetic and optical memories. Here you can take backup. It is a non-volatile memory. So data is permanently stored even if power is switched off. It is used for storage of data in a computer, obviously. Computer may run without secondary memory, as I told you, and it is slower than the primary memories. Hard disks are slower than the primary memories. Okay, and that is the reason. one reason. That's why we need RAM, because our secondary memories are much more slower. Okay, to gain the speed, we need RAM, right? So these are the basic characteristics of secondary memory. And now secondary memory has several types, as I told you, like hard disk and solid state drive. Primarily there are two types, hard disk and solid state drive. Now hard disk, basically the traditional hard disk, here some electromechanical things are involved. Actually electromechanical things are involved. That means some mechanical part is there, but there also, that means there are some I mean in hard disk, if you see, there are several disks are present. You will find that there are several kinds of disks, and each disk stores data, and to read and write data from the disk, there are some read head and write head. We call it read head and write head. Some arms are there. Actually the disks are rotating, the arms are finding the location of the data, it is reaching that location, and it is reading that data, writing the data into that portion. That is in that way hard disk works. So it has some electromechanical component. Okay, electronics and mechanical. But in case of solid state drive, which is, I told you that it's a much more new technology than hard disk. It's a new technology than hard disk. So over there, actually, what we will find over there, you will find there that we call it some solid state drive. There is no such mechanical component. No such mechanical components are involved in solid state drive. There is no such mechanical component is involved, and that's why basically the data reading and writing time from that kind of memory gets reduced than the traditional hard disk drive, and that is why it is advantageous. Basically, that is why in that way it is advantageous, basically, and that's why nowadays manufacturers prefer SSD drives than the traditional hard disk drives. But the function is same. SSD drives are huge. It can store huge data, like our hard disk, and it stores data permanently, like hard disk. But the advantage is that in the solid state drive, the reading and writing time from the hard disk, from the disk, gets reduced. Very lesser time it takes. So ultimately, your computer can perform much more faster, okay, with the SSD, and that's the advantage, right? So this is basically about the secondary memory. Mainly secondary memories are these. Apart from this, there are other kind of memories which you may bring it under the auxiliary memory. In my opinion, it should come in the under the auxiliary memory, like floppy disk, like CD-ROM, like DVD-ROM, etc., which you may you should bring under the you can say under the auxiliary memory, not directly under the secondary memory. You should bring it under the auxiliary memory. Okay, you should bring it under the auxiliary memory. That is basically CD-ROM, DVD-ROMs, floppy disks, and even if your pen drive, pen drive is also coming under the auxiliary memory. Now these auxiliary memories, if you think these auxiliary memories are not important, not so important like hard disk or maybe like RAM. Why? Because your computer system can run without this. This is the additional memory what you are using. Even if your external hard disk, some hard disks are external hard disks. This hard disk you can connect it with your computer externally. So this kind of devices are actually known as, this kind of memories are known as auxiliary memories. So question may come, what is auxiliary memory? So here your answer will be that auxiliary memories are the types of memories which are additionally used in our computer systems for storing data, like CD-ROM drive, CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, CD, DVDs, again pen drives, and external hard disk. So these are basically auxiliary memories, right? Now another very interesting type of memory, which is known as cache memory or cache memory. As I told you, cache memory. Sometimes it is known as cache, sometimes it is known as cache. Now, I have given you the picture. The diagram of the cache memory, the position of the cache memory, to make you understand the position of the cache memory. Actually, a cache memory placed between the primary memory and your CPU. It basically placed between the primary memory and the CPU. Now you can see in the picture that there is CPU, there is primary memory, there is secondary memory, and these arrows actually indicating the direction of the reading and writing data. These arrows actually indicating the direction of the reading and writing data. Now you can see CPU can read data from primary memory, as well as CPU can write data into the primary memory. CPU can bring data. CPU can bring data from the primary memory. CPU can store data in the primary memory. So when the arrow is going from CPU to primary memory, that means it is indicating that CPU is writing something into the primary memory. And when the arrow is coming from the primary memory to CPU, that means it is indicating that CPU is fetching. That means CPU is taking some data from the primary memory, bringing some data from the primary memory to CPU to process it. So in that way, this is the indications, this is the mechanism. That's why the arrow is bidirectional, if you see, in every cases actually. Now, what is the advantage of cache memory? Basically, cache is a very small, faster and expensive memory. First of all, you have to understand that cache is very small, faster, very fast actually, and expensive. Obviously, it is expensive kind of memory. This is the advantage of it. Now, suppose I have told you, I have told you like, please search the person X from the West Bengal. Person X, suppose person X is missing, and it is your responsibility finding him or her out. Now your location is from the West Bengal, entire West Bengal. You have to find him or her from the entire West Bengal. And then, suppose I am telling you, okay, you don't have to finding him or her under the West Bengal. Now, you please find him or her out from within the, suppose maybe in the Hubli Jila. Okay? হুগলি জেলাতে থেকে লোকটাকে বার করার চেষ্টা করো। লোকটা হুগলি জেলাতে আছে, আমি তোমাকে প্রথমে বললাম যে লোকটা ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গলের কোথাও একটা আছে, তুমি ফাইন্ড আউট করার চেষ্টা করো। and second time আমি তোমাকে বললাম যে লোকটা হুগলি জেলার কোথাও একটা আছে, তো you try to find him out. Which will be advantageous, which will take lesser time, ideally. Obviously the second case will take lesser time than the first case. In the first case, your area is much more bigger. So from a bigger area, if you have to find out something, obviously it will take better time than the area which is much more shorter in length. Finding the same person but from a very vast area and from a very small area. So obviously small area will take lesser time. So cache is exactly that. Actually, if you assume primary memory as a West Bengal, cache is Hooghly Jela. If you consider primary memory as the West Bengal, cache is the Hooghly Jela. Okay. And secondary memory in that case in India. Secondary memory is India, whole country. Okay. So obviously, it is much more advantageous to find him or her from the India than from West Bengal than India, and then again it is much more advantageous to find him or her from West Bengal to a particular Zira district, Hooghly district. Okay. So cache in that way, cache is much more faster. Now, what type of data will be stored in cache? The data which is frequently accessed by your computer system. Some data are frequently accessed. Some data are accessed seldom. Some data accessed seldom, and some data is accessed frequently. So we will put, we means our computer system. Our computer system will put the frequently accessed data in the cache memory so that this data can be accessed in a very short span of time, which will ultimately increase, which will ultimately decrease rather, the data accessing time and increase the efficiency of the computer system. So that is basically the cache memory is. And if you see, I have again shown you where the cache memory, how it looks like. It looks like, if you see these black circuits, these black chips, big chips, these are basically cache memories, which is there in the motherboard, and also cache memories are present in the CPU. So there are several kinds of cache memory, L1 cache, L2 cache, like that. Layer 1 cache, layer 2 cache we call it. So some caches are there in CPU inbuilt, and some caches are there in motherboard also. But the basic property, the basic characteristics, the basic working procedure of the cache memory is shown in this diagram and whatever I have told you. Okay. I hope you have understood. So what is the advantages of cache memory? The advantage is, as I told you, that it is faster than main memory. It is much more faster than main memory. Why? Because main memory is, if main memory is West Bengal, cache is Hooghly district. So obviously it is much more faster. Area is smaller. Next, it consumes less access time. That's why it is faster actually. Less access time means less access time to access data, right? Now it stores the program that can be executed within a short period of time, as I told you, and it stores data for temporary use. Now this is most important thing. Cache is again also, it's not a permanent memory, it's a temporary memory, because in different time you will bring several kinds of data in cache memory, because it is storing data which is accessed frequently. Okay. So not all the time, or not all the time same data will be accessed frequently by your computer system. Different data will be accessed frequently. So that's why the content of the cache will be changed. Okay. So that's the advantage. And what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is the area is small, so the capacity is very small. That's the disadvantage you can say. And it is expensive. It is expensive. So these are the disadvantages, right? So this is all about cache memories. I hope you have understood cache memory. What is cache memory? What is cache memory? Somebody call it cache memory, but I call it cache memory. I like to call it cache memory. Whatever you can call it, cache or caching. Next is another type of memory. This is our last topic today. That is virtual memory. Now, what is virtual memory? Actually, you don't have to go in much details of the virtual memory, just the overview you need. Actually, the virtual memory is that where Suppose your physical memory, that means suppose your RAM is exhausted, that means you don't have any place, any space in RAM. Even if you want to, you need some space, to store your program, right? Just listen it very carefully. This is মানে ভার্চুয়াল মেমরি তোমাদের খুব বেশি দরকার নেই, জাস্ট যেটুকু আমি বলবো এইটুকুই দরকার। সেটা হচ্ছে এই যে হোয়াট ইজ ভার্চুয়াল মেমরি, অ্যাকচুয়ালি সাপোজ ইউ ডোন্ট হ্যাভ এনি স্পেস লেফট ইন দ্য RAM, then also you need some space to store some more data in the RAM. So practically it is not possible to get more space in RAM because RAM is exhausted, RAM is full up to the brim. So in that case, some part of your hard disk will be used. Some part of your hard disk will be considered as RAM by your system. Some part of your hard disk will be considered as RAM by your system, which is known as virtual memory. So why it is virtual memory? Why the term is virtual? Virtual means it is there but it is not there. That's the meaning of virtual. So that exactly the same reason. It is a RAM. We are calling it that it is a RAM. It is a memory. So it is a RAM, but it is not there in the RAM. It is where it is in the. It is basically in the hard disk. That's why it is virtual RAM. That's why it is virtual memory. Okay. So that thing you need to know only about the virtual memory. And আমি সেজন্য ওইটুকুই দিয়েছি, ছবিটা বুঝিয়েছি এই কারণে। ফিজিক্যাল অ্যাড্রেস যেটা তুমি দেখতে পাচ্ছ এখানে 0 থেকে 24K যে ফিজিক্যাল অ্যাড্রেস বেসিক্যালি RAM, কিন্তু RAM ছাড়াও এই হার্ড ডিস্কের সেকেন্ডারি মেমরি দেখিয়েছি, দেখো সেকেন্ডারি মেমরি থেকে এই ভার্চুয়াল অ্যাড্রেস গুলোকে তুলছে, তার মানে এটা হচ্ছে সেকেন্ডারি মেমরির মধ্যে র্যামের মতন একটা পোর্শন যেটা RAM হিসেবে ইউজ হচ্ছে। সো দ্যাট ইজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি ভার্চুয়াল মেমরি। ওকে, সো এইটুকুই লাগবে, আর কিছু লাগবে না তোমার, যেটুকু লাগবে আমি সেটুকুই এখানে বলেছি ভার্চুয়াল মেমরি সম্পর্কে। সো আই হোপ ইউ হ্যাভ understood today's whatever I have told you about in today's class. If you have any doubt, you can quickly ask me. You can quickly ask me. Otherwise, I will end up this session because I think you have next class. From where you have next class? From where? When you have next class? When you have next class today?
Sir, please repeat again virtual memory.
Yeah, virtual memory is a kind of memory which is basically you are using the some portion of the hard disk. Actually, you are using the some portion of the hard disk as RAM. When you are doing it, when your RAM is full, when your RAM in your RAM there is no space left, your RAM is full up to the brim, but still you need some data, so still you need some space in RAM. So you cannot do that actually, but you can do that by using this technology, by using this virtual memory technology. You can consider some part of your hard disk as RAM.
Okay.
That is basically virtual memory.
Oh,
Okay.
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 Clear.
Okay. So ঠিক আছে, so we are ending today. আমাদের নেক্সট ক্লাস নর্মালি যেমন নেক্সট রুটিনে হয়, মানে থার্সডে আলফার ক্লাস বোধহয় 9টা থেকে 10টা হয়, আর বিটার ক্লাস 10:30 থেকে 11:30 যেভাবে হয় সেরকমই হবে। এই চেঞ্জটা শুধু আজকের জন্যই ছিল। নেক্সট উইক থেকে আবার নর্মালি আমাদের যে রুটিন ফলো করা হয় আমরা সেই রুটিনেই ক্লাস করব। ওকে,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
থ্যাংক ইউ,
Bye, sir.
বাই,
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
বাই।